Hello and welcome back to Moonlight Mate Stories. Tonight, I bring you a tale of love lost, fate denied, and a bond so powerful it refuses to be forgotten. This is the story of the Alpha's forgotten mate, a second-chance werewolf love story. So sit back, relax, and let the moon guide your imagination. Crescent moon sparkles. The forest was alive with the hum of crickets, the silver glow of the moon spilling across the trees. Elena remembered that night as if it were etched into her soul, the night Kael had first called her his mate. He was the Alpha's son then, powerful even before he took the title. Strong shoulders, piercing gray eyes, and the fierce protectiveness of a wolf destined to rule. She was just a girl from the village, human-born, fragile in the eyes of the pack. Yet when Kael's wolf had chosen her, the bond between them had been undeniable. "I'll always protect you," he had whispered, his forehead resting against hers, his wolf purring deep in his chest. "You're mine, Elena. Nothing will ever take you from me." But fate had been cruel. A war broke out between rival packs, and Kael, barely a man but already leading warriors, was struck down in battle. When he awoke, he was alive, but broken. His memories of her, erased, as if the moon itself had stolen them away. And so, Elena had lost him. Not to death, but to forgetting. The years had not been kind. Elena left the packlands, forced to survive in the human world. She trained, hardened herself, and built walls around her heart. Yet no matter how far she ran, her soul ached for the mate who had once sworn forever. Kael had risen as Alpha during those years, ruling with an iron hand. Ruthless. Cold. He never took a mate, never looked at another with warmth. To the world, he was untouchable, a leader forged in war. To Elena, he was a wound that would never heal. Now, fate dragged her back. Her sister's wedding was being held in the heart of Kael's territory. She had promised herself she would stay strong, keep her distance. She would not let old scars reopen. But the moment she crossed the borders of his land, the bond stirred inside her chest, alive and wild, as if it had been waiting all these years. Her mate was near. And he would not remember her. The celebration hall was lit with golden lanterns, music spilling into the night. Elena stood at the edge of the crowd, her heart pounding as her eyes searched for him. Then she saw him. Kael. He was taller now, broader, his presence commanding the room. His dark hair framed a face sharper than she remembered, and those storm-gray eyes swept over the guests with a predator's focus. Power radiated from him, the kind that made wolves bow their heads without a word. But when his gaze landed on her, nothing. No spark of recognition. No flicker of memory. Just the cool, assessing look of an alpha judging a stranger. Elena's breath caught in her throat, her chest aching. She wanted to scream, "You knew me once. You promised me forever." Instead, she forced herself to look away, swallowing the pain. If he had forgotten, then she would forget too. But fate had other plans. Later that night, she felt it, his eyes on her. Kael stood across the courtyard, watching her as though trying to unravel a puzzle. Something about her unsettled him. His wolf stirred restlessly inside, pacing, growling, demanding something Kael couldn't name. "Who is she?" he asked one of his lieutenants. "A human guest, Alpha," came the reply. "No one is important." But Kael wasn't so sure. There was something in her scent, something buried deep that tugged at him. His chest tightened when she laughed, and when she walked away, he found himself following without meaning to. He didn't know her. And yet, he felt as though he had been waiting for her all his life. Elena, catching his gaze again, felt her heart split in two. He was looking at her with the hunger of a wolf, but without the love of a mate. And that hurt worse than forgetting. The celebration ended with laughter and song, but the night outside the pack's borders was not so kind. In the forest, dark figures moved silently, rival wolves cloaked in shadow. They whispered of vengeance, of blood, of striking the Alpha where it hurt most. Elena didn't know it then, but her return had already painted a target on her back. Later, when the festivities faded, she slipped outside for air. The night wind carried the scent of pine and smoke, and something else. Something is wrong. She froze. Two voices whispered nearby. Strike at the Alpha's heart, weaken him where he least expects. Her pulse quickened. Heart. They weren't just after Kael's throne. They were planning something far more dangerous. Before she could escape, a branch snapped beneath her foot. The whispers stopped. The hunters turned. And in that moment, Elena knew she had been caught. Kael found her minutes later, dragged between two warriors, her wrists bound. His rage was instant, primal, directed not at her, but at those who dared touch her. With a growl that shook the night, he tore them apart, his claws flashing. The rival wolves fled, but not before Kael's wolf had scented their intent. This woman mattered. Whoever she was, they wanted her gone. When the last enemy fell, Kael turned to her. His eyes burned silver, his wolf close to the surface. You will stay under my watch, he said, voice like steel. From this moment on, you don't leave my sight. Elena's breath caught. Being near him was the very thing she had sworn against. Yet as his hand closed around her arm, as his body heat pressed close, her soul trembled with recognition. You don't have to protect me, she whispered. You don't even know me. Kael leaned closer, his scent enveloping her, his wolf growling low in his chest. Maybe I don't, he murmured. But my wolf does. Days passed, and Kael kept her close. Too close. Wherever she went, he was there, shadow, guardian, tormentor. And with every heartbeat, the bond pulled tighter. One night, danger struck again. A rogue ambushed them in the woods, fangs flashing. Kael shifted in an instant, his wolf unleashed. The battle was brutal, his claws rending, his snarls echoing through the trees. When it was over, Kael stood above the body, his fur bristling, his eyes blazing. But when he turned to Elena, everything changed. His wolf stepped forward, lowering its head, nuzzling against her hand. A sound, deep and possessive, rumbled from his chest, a growl that was not of anger, but of recognition. Elena's tears fell freely as she stroked his fur. His wolf knew her. His wolf had never forgotten. And yet, when he shifted back, Kael's human eyes were cold once more. What are you doing to me? He demanded, voice shaking. Why does my wolf know you when I don't? Her heart shattered. Fate was crueler than she had ever imagined. News spread quickly through the pack. Whispers of Kael's unusual behavior reached ears eager for power. One wolf, ambitious and bold, saw his chance. She's human, he sneered at Kael before the gathered wolves. Weak. Forgettable. If you won't take her, then I will. The challenge struck like lightning. Before Elena could speak, before Kael could think, his wolf erupted. With a roar that shook the walls, Kael lunged at the challenger, slamming him to the ground. Claws sank into flesh, teeth snapped inches from the rival's throat. Mine. Kael's voice thundered, his wolf blazing through his eyes. She is mine. The hall fell silent. No one dared move. Elena's chest heaved, torn between fury and hope. He claimed her before the pack, yet even as he did, his gaze flickered with confusion. His wolf had spoken, but his human heart still could not remember. And that was the deepest wound of all. The rival's blood had barely dried before the whispers began. The pack was restless, questions hanging heavy in the air. Why would the Alpha protect a human so fiercely? Why did his wolf claim her as mate when his human self did not? The answers came from the oldest lips in the pack. That night, the elder summoned Kael and Elena to the fire circle. The flames crackled, shadows dancing across his weathered face. You were mated once before, Alpha, the elder said, his voice grave. Fate chose her. The moon blessed the bond. But in battle, dark magic struck you down. It did not kill you, it stripped your memory clean. The bond was hidden from your mind, though your wolf never forgot. Kael stiffened, his breath caught. He looked at Elena, really looked at her, for the first time. Elena's hands trembled as she held his gaze. Tears shimmered in her eyes. "You promised me forever," she whispered, voice breaking. "But forever forgot me." Kael's chest tightened, his heart caught between disbelief and the ache in his wolf's growls. For the first time in years, cracks split his cold mask. The truth had barely sunk in before the rival pack struck. Hell split the night, savage and merciless. Warriors poured across the border, claws flashing, teeth tearing. Blood stained the earth as Kael's pack rose to defend their alpha. Elena did not hide. She could not. Sword in hand, she fought beside them, her every strike fueled by years of pain and longing. No longer the fragile girl he once knew, she stood as a warrior, her courage fierce and unyielding. Kael fought too, his wolf blazing, his fury unstoppable. Yet even his strength was not enough against the tide. In the chaos, Elena saw him fall. No! Her scream cut the night. She ran to him, her body shielding his, her hands pressed to his wounds. Tears fell hot onto his skin. "Kael," she begged, her voice trembling, "don't leave me again. Please, remember me. Remember us." Her blood dripped into his wound, mingling with his. The bond surged like fire, a lightning strike under the moon. And then, his eyes snapped open. It came in a flood. Her laughter under the stars. Her hand in his. Her lips against his, soft and trembling, the taste of forever. Her tears the night he promised to protect her. "Elena," he gasped, his voice raw. His arms wrapped around her, pulling her close as if afraid she'd vanish. "I remember. Moon above, I remember everything." His wolf howled, triumphant, the sound shaking the battlefield. Power surged through him, unstoppable now that he was whole. Rising to his feet, Kael faced his enemies with fury reborn. He fought like a storm, each strike a vow to never forget her again. Elena stood with him, her courage burning beside his strength. And together, they drove the rival pack back, their love as much a weapon as their claws and steel. When the last enemy fled, silence fell across the ruined battlefield. Kael turned to her, his chest heaving, his eyes filled with tears he did not hide. "My mate," he whispered, falling to his knees before her. "Forgive me for forgetting. Never again. You are mine, Elena, and I am yours." Her hands cupped his face, her smile trembling through her tears. "You've always been mine, Kael. Even when you don't remember." And under the silver moonlight, the Alpha and his forgotten mate were whole again. The battlefield lay silent, littered with scars of war. The pack gathered, eyes wide with awe as they watched their Alpha and his mate rise from the ashes, hand in hand. For days, Kael did not leave Elena's side. He carried her when she was too weak to walk, tended her wounds with his own hands, and whispered the memories that had returned, every kiss, every promise, every dream they once shared. The pack saw it too. Their Alpha, once cold and untouchable, now burned with a love that softened even the hardest hearts. Luna, they began to call her. And Elena, who once thought herself forgotten, now stood as queen of their hearts. The night of the full moon came, silver light flooding the clearing. The pack gathered in reverent silence. Kael stood tall, but his eyes never left Elena. His voice trembled as he spoke. "Fate gave me a second chance. Tonight, I claim it. I claim her, not because the moon commands it, but because my heart belongs only to her." Gasps echoed as Kael bared his neck in submission, not to an enemy, but to his mate. Elena stepped forward, tears streaming down her face. "I accept," she whispered, her hands cradling his face. "I always will." The bond flared, bright and unbreakable, as the moon itself blessed their union. Wolves howled, their voices lifting to the sky, celebrating the love that had conquered even death and time. And in that moment, Elena was no longer forgotten. She was Alpha's mate, Luna of the pack, and forever bound to Kael. Peace returned to the land. The rival packs, defeated, bowed to Kael's strength and Elena's courage. Together, they rebuilt, not just walls and borders, but trust, family, and love. Every morning, Kael would wake with his arms around her, whispering, "I remember, Elena." Always. And every night, she would fall asleep knowing that forever was no longer broken. Their story, once shattered by loss, became legend, a tale of love so strong it defied even the cruelty of fate. And so, under the silver moonlight, the Alpha and his forgotten mate found their way back to each other, stronger, fiercer, and bound forever. If you enjoyed this story of love, fate, and second chances, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Moonlight Mate Stories, and ring the bell so you never miss another werewolf romance under the stars. Thank you for listening tonight. Until next time, may the moonlight guide your heart.